Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. So sorry about yesterday. My internet was really spotty. After I wound up doing a live stream, well, to be honest, I was having issues all day with the internet. It was like rarely working and just. Anyway, I'm supposed to be getting a technician to come in tomorrow and Saturday. So hopefully he can sit there and kind of fix things and because it's irritating. But I did get a chance to watch GH yesterday. Eh, it wasn't terrible. The end where everyone is just sleeping together and just, it's like, I've never been a fan of those scenes. I've never been a fan of the lovemaking scenes. So it just, eh. Other than that, it was an okay episode. It wasn't super great. I mean, you could have totally skipped it. Um, Now going into today's episode, there was some stuff that was kind of interesting. Okay? This is a point where Drew gets back. Well, at first, Michael and Ned are arguing. And, Willow's like, hey, can you just chill out for a little bit? This is after, no, Olivia came in and she was like, yo, can y'all just kind of chill out? And afterwards, Willow was like, yo, can you just, like, kind of, like today is very important. It's about the baby and stuff like that. Can we just kind of just keep that in mind? But of course, they start going at it again. And the only reason why it got stopped that time was because Olivia, like an idiot, decided not to knock and saw Chase naked. I just, I don't understand that. I really don't. I mean, let's be honest. If she didn't see Chase naked, she could have very easily saw Brooklyn doing research. Okay? And I feel like that's just awkward in general. She could have just walked into that too. I mean, sometimes you're just in the mood to do research. That's all I'm going to say about that. So anyway, Olivia comes downstairs and she tells Nat in front of everyone else, I saw Chase naked. I mean, I accidentally walked into the room and I should have knocked. And I'm like, yo, people didn't even have their coffee yet and we're already starting with this. And of course, Brooklyn gets down there and she's like, yeah, me and him, we spent the night together. And I'm like, so no one believes in TMI anymore, right? We just throw out everything. Is this what we do now? This is like, was it like 8 o'clock or something? This, like, really? And of course, Ned did sit there. Now, this is something that, when it happened, with Carly knowing about the deal and, putting a lot of money into the stock and stuff, this is something that we talked about as far as insider trading. And when Ned brought it up, it's like Drew and Michael was like, what are you talking about? We didn't do anything like that. I'm like, y'all two are business people and y'all weren't aware that y'all was literally committing a crime when you told Carly and she put all her money into it and then she lost the hotel. That didn't register through anyone's head. I mean, like, seriously. They just walked around day in and day out like doop 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 doop. So when he said that, he was like, Martha Stewart went away, she went to jail for far less. Just remember that. He walked away and, Michael was like, don't worry about it. He's bluffing. And I'm kind of just like, I feel like he is in some sort of way, you know? I don't know if he would literally turn in Michael or Drew for insider trading. Valentino, on the other hand, he got no allegiance to that family. He really don't. I'm surprised they didn't actually bring that up sooner. I mean, that was months ago. I mean, granted, I don't know the statute of limitations on something like that, but that was months ago. We're just now bringing that. Okay. Okay. All right. Uh. This whole Willow story. This Willow story. Today I've had just mixed emotions about it. I've had mixed emotions. I had mixed emotions about it for a while. For the most part, in the beginning, I was angry. I was annoyed. I was like, Willow, just tell Michael the truth. Oh, by the way, Olivia accompanied her to the hospital because Michael took a business call that could have lasted forever. But I've had mixed emotions about this thing because again I was annoyed, then I didn't care, then I felt. Let's just put it this way: when you're dealing with a storyline like cancer, it's a very touchy and emotional story to deal with. You know, because somebody knows somebody who has dealt with that, and so it always brings up a certain level of emotion, sadness, and I can help but I'm not doing this on camera. I'm not. It was definitely hard watching her be afraid of stuff that was coming. Especially when Britt came back and she was like, "Oh, I noticed this and that, and you got to go up there for more testing." It was like, it pulls at your heart. It really does. And granted, Willow's not my favorite character. Willow not telling Michael about what's going on. I'm at a point where it's like I'm past the point of just I don't want to sit there and say not caring, but I'm not as annoyed as I was. But given the storyline, I can't help but be a little um I don't know. I don't know. Maybe emotional about it a little bit. Not so much as like Willow, because like I can take her or leave her, but just what she's dealing with. Um Michael went down to the hospital. I don't know if he actually got there. Olivia was having a headache at first, and I was like, "What's going on with Olivia?" Finn was there, and Finn was like, "Oh, you okay?" She turned around, and of course, a Wonder Years woman, Kevin Arnold's mom, showed up, and she's the new Heather Weber. And I'm not gonna lie, with her hair looking all crazy and everything like that, I was like, "Is that the chick from the Wonder Years?" Like, wow, hey, she had that perfect whole like I don't maybe like Joker-ish kind of like she looked like she was crazy. So I got to sit there and say just her whole laugh and like the way she was acting, I was like, this is. I felt like she was acting more crazier than the last chick that played Heather Weber. I mean, she looked like she was straight deranged, and I'm like, that actually kind of woke me up a little bit. So, props to her so far. Props to her so far. I hope we'll see more of her because that was good. That was good. So when Cam was sitting there trying to get Josh, not out or whatever, but opening the door so she can leave, and she was like, "Oh, did your brothers, that like did she know that did they know I was here, or whatever?" So as she was leaving, saw Finn. And she sat by the Finn because it was Oscar's birthday, and Finn came in there. Finn was like, "Oh," and of course Cam made some like, "Oh, well, she came over here to give me some books before school," and Finn was like, "Yeah, books, okay, we gonna play this game, really? Like I haven't been around the block. Like, I mean, it's Michael Easton, so I mean, come on." So he already knew the deal, and they just kind of dropped it. But Finn was like, at some point, you should sit there and tell her. 'cause it's not my place. Um, Cam, one of those, I don't sit there and say one of those rare occasions because they do come up. There's times where Cam could be very, what's a good word for that? Think about that for a second. I guess wise. Very insightful, very wise. He was not there telling, um, because he accidentally told Finn where Liz was. Finn thinking that she's at a spa, and Cam was like, "Yeah, well, I know it must be hard to see your parents again and stuff like that." Oh man, I hope I didn't mess things up. You didn't know, did you? Well, you can tell to look in his face, he didn't know. But what he said to Finn, as far as like, don't underestimate her. She can handle a lot more than you think. She's not a victim. She's not, somebody that needs to be rescued. Don't take her back to that place where at one point in time she did feel like a victim. And I sat there and I was like, I'm, I'm very impressed. I was like, I'm very impressed. He was very, the way he read the situation and told Finn, I was very impressed. And I'm just like, Finn, you might want to listen to him. Because he was dropping you some knowledge. He was dropping some jewels. You might want to sit there and kind of, you know, take that into consideration next time you decide you want to come in there and be like, do your little Finn thing. You might want to just think about what he said. And the sad thing is, we in these relationships and stuff like that, I can see how you want to help. You may think that you're doing too, people may tell you that you're doing too much, but given his history of his late wife and felt like he didn't do enough, I understand where he was coming from. I'm like, yo, when Cam is dropping knowledge like that, something that maybe you should have thought of, something's kind of off. Something's kind of off. That's all I'm gonna say. Something's kind of off. Drew was there at Oscar's gravesite. Then later on, Joss was. I don't know. I sat there and when they were both talking at his grave, I just kept thinking in my head, like, I had such mixed emotions about Oscar's death. Because on one hand, it's a child. Okay? That's always extremely heartbreaking. Okay? On the other hand, the actor wanted to leave. So it was kind of like, I kind of didn't really like. I didn't care that he was leaving because I wasn't a huge fan of him anyway. And there was a part where Drew, the other Drew, Billy's Drew, picked up after he actually passed away, he picked up his body and he took him to the hospital. And I don't know, for me, I was like, all right, this is a little bit like over the top. Like that totally got me out the moment, like the emotion I was in. Um, and there was one part where it was like legit sad. But then when he picked up his body, it was like, all right, you just took me like totally out of this. So that happened. Carly was making out with Drew. I couldn't wait till those scenes was over. Bobby came in there. Carly had this whole long-winded speech about trying to find herself, and I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. Part of it was just kind of dumb. Most of it was dumb. Then Carly was like, "Oh, I'm gonna be called Spencer." Okay, I mean, cool. It's not like you really had a lot of options, but whatever. Um, and granted, she told her story about why she wanted to be called Spencer, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really care. I didn't care, and especially when she was like, "Oh, she spreaded Virginia's ashes in the ocean or the sea or whatever," and I was like, "Yep, making out a whole fight between her and the council and whatever that woman's name, Paulina, to be pretty stupid." So You know, that was a thing too. Oh, TJ was there. He didn't really do too much of anything. I mean, he was just worried about Willow, and Britt was like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't exactly remember what they said. It was kind of boring, and I think she pretty much was just like, you gotta understand that when you're a doctor, we can only do the best we can, and you gotta, I don't know, I guess separate your emotions from your being profession, which I'm not gonna lie, I don't understand how doctors do that. That is the one thing I will always sit there and salute a doctor to be able to separate um, their, like to be able to be detached like that. I just, well, if you know me, I'm the last person to sit there and be able to detach myself from giving bad news and stuff like that. So it is a mystery of how they do it. But yeah, let's just double check, make sure that was it. Oh, and the last scene, I think it's the last scene, is Liz and Terry. So Terry's plan is to distract Liz's parents at a coffee shop while Liz, I guess, search for something. Even though she doesn't know what it is, it's one of those things that she's gonna know what it is when she sees it. So she goes in the house, she takes a long time. I'm like, Liz, you do realize that Terry can't keep them there forever. And from what I understand, the distance between the coffee shop and her house, it's not like there's really a lot of traffic. So I don't understand why you're slowly walking around and looking at pictures and going through memory lane and like, bro, find the stuff you need to find and get out. You know. Another thing what I don't understand is okay, so she goes in there and she remembers the code and stuff like that. But I'm like, you do realize that if somebody enters the house, you're gonna see it. Most people can sit there and see when somebody goes in, the doorbell thing or whatever, like they can see it. So they know that somebody entered the house. So I don't understand what she thought she was going to accomplish by like going in and out or whatever. Oh, by the way, her parents are trash. Okay? Her parents are trash. I understand that Liz is probably not an easy child, but Liz went through a lot of stuff, and her parents prioritize practically everyone else in the world versus her. Um, Towards the end, her dad showed up, so there's that. Now, it's interesting when people are there saying, oh, never mind, they did cast the mother. I forgot about that. They didn't show her today, though, but they did cast the mother. Let me just double check my notes to make sure I got everything. Oh, and apparently, I guess Monday, Chase and Brooklyn are gonna meet the person that they're gonna meet that he's gonna be doing like singing with or whatever. Because Link called the meeting, and they're still going through that plot, which I'm just like, I mean, it's there. I don't really care one way or the other. I'm like, Brooklyn, you're toxic, um, and um, and you're toxic. But here's the thing: I sit there and say that Brooklyn is toxic, right? But Chase does have free will. He does have free will. He's not innocent in this whole thing. He has free will. He does know that he is with a toxic woman. But I think that's pretty much about it. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video.